Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here at this He'emanti space where Be'ez Hashem today, Parsha Shoftim, we're going to be really learning fascinating anecdotes. Well, we're going to be learning from fascinating anecdotes about Emunah, about getting our needs met. Really, actually, very, very amazing things. And thank you so much for being here and joining this space. So it says in the Holy Sfarim, okay, Rabasha brings down, Rabasha Frein, that the wealth that a person has, whatever wealth we have, again, from whatever kind of wealth it is, whether we're talking about spiritual wealth, we're talking about, financial means, whatever we have is a deposit with us, right? Whatever we have is deposited with us. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given us this deposit, whether it's money or whatever it is, and it's our job to use it for the good of Klal Yisrael. The Gemara brings down there was one of the Amoraim, I think it was, or Belazar. He was very, very careful to only use what he needed. And he didn't use more than he needed. And whenever he would go to the marketplace, if he would see the Gabbai Tzedakah, the Tzedakah collectors, the charity collectors in the marketplace, whatever money he had at the time, he would give it to the Tzedakah collectors. And they knew him. And so whenever they would see Rebbe Lazar in the marketplace, they would run away from him because they didn't want to take away all of his money because they knew that he was just going to give it all to them. And so one particular day, Rebbetzin Elazar came to him and said, okay, it's time to buy a Nadunya for our daughter. Take this bag of money. Please go to the market and buy the Nadunya for our daughter. So he went to the marketplace, and from the other corner of the marketplace, he saw the Gabbai Tzedakah coming into the marketplace. Well, the Gabbai Tzedakah saw him and started running away, but Rabbi Lazar was too fast for the Gabbai Tzedakah. He caught up with him and started to give him the whole purse of money that was supposed to go for his daughter's Nadunya. And the Gabbai Tzedakah didn't want to take it. But Rabbi Lazar refused to take it back. And so they made a pshara, and the Gabbai Tzedakah forced him to take some of it. He took some of it. With it, he bought some wheat. He came back home and he threw the wheat into the threshing hall that they had, and then went off to, I guess he went off to learn. So Rebbetzin Elazar, I think it was Brad Daudosa, said to her daughter, the Kala, did you see what Tati brought home for the Nadunya? So she said, well, I saw him throw some wheat into the threshing hall. I don't know what happened. So she went into and opened the door of the huge, the threshing hall where he'd thrown the wheat, and she saw it packed with wheat, which it hadn't been before. And she called her husband and she said, look what your tzedakah and chesed have done. Look at the bracha that we have. And the Rav was unimpressed. He saw it all and he said, all right, but we'll still only have what we need from all of this. We don't need to use all of this. Whatever we need, we'll take. And whatever's left is going to go back to tzedakah. It was, okay. So Hashem gave it to us to be able to pass on and use. So just because we have, it doesn't mean it's all ours. And just because we don't have at any particular time, it doesn't mean that we won't have. As we're going to understand, if we don't have what we need for ourselves, it means that it's just deposited with somebody else right now. And if we have more than we need, it means that Hashem has deposited by us the things that are meant for somebody else. But it doesn't mean that everything that we have is meant necessarily for us to use. In fact, the Chavaz Alevava says that the money that we have is meant for three groups of people. It's meant for us, our personal selves. It's meant for those that are dependent upon us. And there are some resources that we have that are not meant for us or those that are dependent upon ourselves. And we're simply holding on to it for other people. Maybe it's for people who work for us. It's for going to be people who inherit it from us after 120. But a portion of what we have is not actually meant for our own enjoyment at all. So just to understand, get a little bit of perspective about the things that we have. So a person is not allowed to be stingy when he gives tzedakah, because Chazal teach us, when somebody comes to ask us for tzedakah, they're not asking for what's out, for taking away something that's ours, but they're asking for what is theirs, but was simply deposited in our hands for safekeeping. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu has put us, he's made us responsible for this, and we're responsible for the tzedakah. We're responsible to make sure that it goes to the right people. Just as a pakid in the bank, just as the clerk sitting at the bank is responsible for the money that's in the bank, and to give it to the right people and not to give it to the wrong people. We are also responsible. We're answerable for the money or the resources that are in our hands that we have access to. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu has put the rich people in charge of the bank accounts, as it were, for those that have less resources. As it says in Tehillim, Li HaKesef V'li Hazav. The silver and the gold is mine. It's all HaKadosh Baruch Hu's. And they are just given to whoever HaKadosh Baruch Hu decides to leave it with for whatever period of time HaKadosh Baruch Hu chooses. In the Parsha, it says, Nosan Titain Loi. You shall surely give. It's a double language. Nosan, giving, Titain, you shall give to him. So Titain, v'tachzor v'titain. You give, and then you should give again. And a person shouldn't feel bad when they're giving and say, oh, I already gave, I gave yesterday and I gave today, and someone's asking me again. Don't feel bad about giving, because that's what Hashem has given it to you for. And you're not even giving from what's yours, but you're actually giving what's his. Whatever you end up giving to somebody was just a deposit by you in order to be able to give it to that person. We have to make a switch in our head about how we think about what is in our hands. It's not ours. It's actually theirs. And we're just looking after it. We are just the guardian of whatever is theirs. And so if this particular person, for whatever reason, that it's not in his particular hands right now, and it was in our hands, okay, so HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave it to us, and now we have to give it to them. And Chazal teaches, Ki bigla hadavar hazeh, because of this tzedakah, yivarechacha Hashem. Hashem's going to give you a bracha. You're only going to get a bracha from this, from tzedakah. Of course, there are rules. A person shouldn't give more than 10%. In tzedakah, hello, welcome, great to see you on. So a person should not impoverish himself by giving more than a certain amount. I mean, more than 20%, I think. There are halachas of how much a person is allowed to give. We're not supposed to impoverish ourselves, but depending on a person's situation, that's how much a person should be able to give. Because the whole purpose of HaKadosh Baruch Hu depositing these resources, whatever the resources are, in a person's hands at any particular time, is in order to give the bracha, in order to be able to give you more, so that we become givers. HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world to give. That was the reason for the whole creation. When Chazal teach us why HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world, he created the world in order to give. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to be givers. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to send us bracha. And this actually was a theme that I was talking about on Sunday in the Free Elul experience, which I'm just gonna repeat a little bit here, because the point is so important for us to understand that we were created to fulfill the mitzvah of B'halachta b'drachav, to walk in a Kadosh Baruch Hu's ways. Why? Why is it important that we be like Hashem? Because Rashi says, "V'davakta boy," attached to a Kadosh Baruch Hu, that this is the mitzvah of the Torah, the mitzvah, the central mitzvah and focus of the entire 613 mitzvahs is v'davakta boy, to be attached to a Kadosh Baruch Hu, the mitzvah of devekus by a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And how can we have devekus with a Kadosh Baruch Hu? Mahu rachum af ato. Just as he is merciful, so you be merciful. Mahu chanun af ato. Just as he is compassionate, so you be compassionate. When we become like a Kadosh Baruch Hu, that's how we attach to a Kadosh Baruch Hu, through being like Hashem. V'halachta b'drachav, going in the ways of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, is eitzah, is a piece of advice of how to be like Hashem. And then we can attach to him. And that's how Kadosh Baruch Hu then, when we become givers, when we walk in the path of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, then Mida keneged Mida, then a Kadosh Baruch Hu then can give to us. The more we give, the more Kadosh Baruch Hu then can give to us. This is how Kadosh Baruch Hu has created the world. So Hashem doesn't only want us to be nice people and to be compassionate and kind because it's good midas. But HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants us to give so that he can give to us. It's part of the mechanism for how he gives. How do we give? How do we know what to give? HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given to each and every one of us resources. To a rich person, he's given financial resources. To somebody who is spiritually rich, he's given spiritual resources. To somebody who is emotionally rich, he's given emotional resources. To somebody who's intellectually, cognitively rich, he's given intellectual resources. Whatever our resources are, some people have familial resources. You have the kind of a family that is rich in support. Whatever the resources that you have, this is what you have to give from. So that when you start to give from that, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu replenishes and gives to you. This is how HaKadosh Baruch Hu has made the world. Just as water that is stuck, you're rich in cookie dough. That's beautiful. You give up your beautiful cookies. That's great. I love that. Just as a stagnant pool has nowhere to flow off and it becomes stinky, okay? So it is that when a person doesn't give of themselves, the blessing has nowhere to run off to, and it's going to become stagnant within us. And so that stops up the whole process. And Hashem says, well, you're not giving off, so I can't give to you. Hashem wants to give to us. Hashem created the entire world to give. And so he says to us, give, titain, nasan titain, like give, and keep giving. Your job in this world is to be a giver. And the more you give, you're not going to lose out. Adarab, on the contrary, you give, I'm going to give to you. That's the mechanism through which I created the world so that you can receive. The more you give, the more I can give you, and the more you will receive. We're created to be givers. And so our job is to then uncover and discover, so what are my gifts? And from the beginning of the time until the end of history, the Ari Kadosh said, nobody can fulfill that which somebody else came into the world to do. We each have our own particular gift to give. And there's no extra or additional gift that has been given in this world. If two people could do the same thing, one of them would be extra. But no one can do what another person came to do, because each one of us has our own particular gift. And when we fulfill our own particular gift, when we do what we came to this world to do, Hashem said, even if you start doing it for free, you can charge, of course you can charge. But even if you begin doing it for free, HaKadosh Baruch Hu will bring the blessing in, and he will show you that this is what you're supposed to be doing. And you will have your needs met when you're fulfilling what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you to do. And Rav Dessler taught that even when a person is doing their job and they're getting paid for it, but they have intention that they're doing a chesed with it. He was speaking about a mailman who's delivering the letters. He said, if he has the intention that he's doing a kindness for another person, then he's fulfilling his purpose. He's doing a kindness, even if he gets paid for his job. So whether we're doing something voluntarily, and honestly, I often encourage people who don't really know where to begin or what they're trying to do. Start by doing something voluntarily, because often when we start voluntarily, we can make connections, we can gain experience, and we can learn a lot about how to do things, which ultimately can stand us in good stead when we decide to move into something professionally, if we can. But of course, if you want to get a job, go ahead and get a job. If you're doing something and you decide, I need to charge for this, go ahead and charge for this. Okay, absolutely. We're supposed to. If this is our job, we're supposed to be charging for our job. Okay, there's no reason to give away that which we do professionally. Okay, of course we could decide to have a sliding scale or something like this, but everybody needs to have the way that they can earn parnasa. But it doesn't take away from it being a chesed. That's the point here. Is that it doesn't take away from our being givers. It doesn't take away from our being the Tselem Elokim, from being the created in the image of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, that we're givers, and therefore we attach to Kadosh Baruch Hu through this giving, and therefore through this giving, a Kadosh Baruch Hu then replenishes that which we give. Okay, and so whatever it is that you can give, again, if we can, if a person begins to resent their giving, usually it's because they don't realize that what we're giving actually belongs to somebody else, or sometimes it's because we're giving more than we're capable of giving. Maybe we're giving without really guarding our energies. So we need to maybe talk it over with somebody who knows us well, if we're maybe overdoing it, to make sure that our giving is within healthy boundaries. And then when we can give willingly, and we can give generously, and when we can give without being forced and with a good heart, that's according to the Malbim. This is what the Malbim says. Then this is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu is asking us to do. He wants us to be givers, and then he will replenish. He will give back to us. So the story is told about the Gaon of Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld. This is a fascinating story. Okay. Rav Yosef Chaim Sonnenfeld, the tzaddik of Yerushalayim, the Rav Yerushalayim, he spoke about his friend, the Gaon Rav Hillel Lichtenstein, who was from Kolomai in Europe. In his young years, he was a student by the author of the Ksav Sefer in Presburg, in the yeshiva in Presburg. And in those times, they had a system in place called Essentag, days where the younger men, the Bachrim in yeshiva, would eat by different families, so that, because the yeshiva did not have a dining room, it was long before the yeshiva of Chachmei Lublin, where that was the very first yeshiva where they had a dormitory and where they had meals, and where the Bachrim didn't have to traipse around the neighborhood in order to eat in different places. Before then, the yeshiva students would go and be hosted by the local population, who would be supporting the yeshiva by hosting the Bachrim for meals different days of the week. Rav Hillel would regularly be late for the family in the home where he was placed to eat. And this is because he was always learning with such tremendous diligence that it was hard for him to put himself away from his learning, and so he was frequently late. One time, the hostess rebuked him. Why is he late? She said to him, do you think that you can come anytime you like to come and eat? Like it's a restaurant? If you've been placed to eat in our home, You need to adapt yourself to the hosts and not just do whatever you like, but you need to come to the time where the hosts tell you it's time to come for the meal. Reb Hillel, Lichtenstein, the Bocher, the young man, didn't answer anything, but he did not step foot into that home again. The Balat Habayit, the hostess, was very disgruntled by this turn of events. She enjoyed having the yeshiva students come. After all, she was a generous spirit, and she'd set this up because she wanted to host the yeshiva students. She just intended that the bacha could come on time, and that there would be a good that it would all run in a timely fashion. And she didn't mean to send him out of her house, chas v'shalom. And so she decided she was going to find out where this bacha was and go and talk to him about it and encourage him to come back. So she found the young bacha of Hillel Lichtenstein, and she started to justify herself to him, saying that she didn't intend bad, chas v'shalom, and she really about the fact that he was late for the meals and he could come whenever he wanted. That was how she ended the conversation. Rav Hillel answered back to his previous hostess, Rav Hillel Lichtenstein. Yes, that's right. You say the Krasner Rav, so I didn't know exactly who he was. Thank you for giving me that additional information. Yes. He said, we, the yeshiva students, he answered back, we, just as you have, you're keeping track of the time. He said, your grandfather? Oh my gosh, so isn't this beautiful? So honored to have a granddaughter of Rav Hillel, and I understand, yeah, okay. Now we have a story of your Zaidi. Here we go. What a beautiful turn of events to have you on while we have we're telling this story. So now it's even an extra special story. Okay, story about your Zaidi. All right. So the Bach answered back, and he said, "We yeshiva Bach, and we also, just as you're making an accounting of the time, we also have an accounting of the money by a Kodesh Baruch Hu." But in order that we yeshiva Bachrim would not be troubled by managing money and having to think about how much money we have or we don't have and where to spend, HaKadosh Baruch Hu put the money that cares for us, the money for all of our needs, HaKadosh Baruch Hu deposited it in the homeowners of the city. And that's why we are set up to eat by the various homes in the community. And when I heard, listen to this, it's so beautiful. And when I heard your rebuke about me coming late, I understood that the deposit for me is not in your home, but it must be by somebody else. We don't need to have anything more to do with each other. And I don't have anything bad against you. I don't hold anything against you. I just want to eat wherever HaKadosh Baruch Hu has deposited the sustenance that I'm supposed to eat from. And apparently, it's somewhere else. Right? Isn't that beautiful? So beautiful. Apparently, it's somewhere else. So your holy Zaidi took the hint. He took a very subtle hint here, and he understood, I have needs, I need to eat. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu has put the capacity to give me what I need in various places. Hashem doesn't trouble us that all of our needs should land upon us, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu deposits our needs by other people, our emotional support, financial support, our our intellectual, halachic, any kind of social support, the Kodesh Baruch Hu has deposited it by various people. And it's our job to be sensitive and to listen in to the hints of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Maybe you know people. I know that I know people. I know that I've been there myself, where I maybe didn't get the hint right away, where I wanted to get certain needs from certain people. I thought that person is supposed to be there for me, or this person is supposed to give me this kind of support. It sometimes takes a while. We don't always get the hint as, yo, Heilige Zaidi got the hint right away. Sometimes we push it, and, sometimes I could speak to a woman who for 25, 30, 45 years has been trying to get her needs met from somebody, and they're just not doing it. But she didn't get the message, and she didn't get the message, she didn't get the message, and she didn't get the message, and she didn't get the message. Because we think, but it should be like this. It should be that person. Wife thinks, my husband should be the one to give me my emotional support. Maybe he's not capable. Maybe he's not going to do it. Or a woman thinks, my parents, they should be the ones to give me the emotional support or the financial support. Maybe the deposit is not by them. Maybe it's somewhere else. It's not up to us to decide from where we get our support, whatever that kind of support is. The Kodesh Baruch Hu decides where our support is going to come from. And our job is to take the hint. And if we could be like your Holy Zaidi and take the hint after that one conversation, how nice it would be. We would save ourselves a lot of heartache if we weren't barking up the wrong tree for a lifetime. I know so many women who've been barking up the wrong tree for a lifetime. And I don't blame myself for the years that I was doing it. And I don't blame anybody for doing it, because we weren't taught this lesson. We weren't taught that not everybody who could be expected to supply the needs actually is the one who HaKadosh Baruch Hu is destined to give that support to. Many years ago, I was giving a series through Jewish workshops, and one of the tools that I gave over in that particular series was, if someone tells you maybe, if someone lets you know that they might do something, but in their actions they have been showing you consistently that they're not going to be doing it, whatever it is, whether it's financial support, whether it's emotional support, whether it's social support, whatever it is that we feel that we need. If they've been saying, yes, maybe, yeah, I think I'm going to do it, but technically you've been waiting 6 months, a year, 5 years, and it's not coming, then we have to realize the answer is no. They're not doing it, and they're not the shaliach. And so, just as Befila Lichtenstein said, I don't have anything against you. I just realized my deposit is not by you. So how wonderful and how much peace we could bring into our lives if we would allow ourselves to say, my deposit isn't by you. Okay, and even if it's a husband and a spouse, and we could say, okay, my emotional deposit is not by you. It's somewhere else. It doesn't mean the marriage is over. It just means that you're not the address for my emotional support. Sometimes the parents cannot be the address for adequate love and care. Every child would want their parent to be healthy, loving, supportive, but not every parent can be. Sometimes the love that we need to receive was not deposited by our parents. We need to learn how to parent ourselves. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to give us that deposit. Hashem's going to take care of us. But we need to take that step that Rabbi Hillel taught us, which is, hear the hint. Realize that if it's not there, if the person is reluctant, if you're getting the message that really the answer is no, because it's not coming, then hear the message, hear the hint, realize it's coming from somewhere else. And learning how to hear those hints, learning how to realize where we're stuck, where we keep knocking on the wrong doors and expecting them to change, where we keep on thinking and wanting, I want my deposit to be by this particular person. I want to get it from there. And we keep on bumping our head against the wrong door and not getting the message, and we don't understand where we're stuck. That's what we're going to be doing, the Ezra Hashem, in the new series that I'm going to be facilitating B'siyata D'Shmaya on Sunday, Back to Yourself and Beyond, where we're going to be doing a deep dive into understanding our strengths, how to the support that we need in all the different kinds of areas, how to get it, and by being part of the incredibly beautiful, high quality, high caliber community that is already formed for this series. Women are going to be receiving a support of a whole new level that we didn't know that we could get, because when women join together, not just to learn, but to grow and to share and to support and to validate, the growth is exponential. It's just beyond anything that we can do by ourselves, because one Jew plus another Jew is not just 1 + 1. There's a tremendous amount and a huge amount of growth that comes. And so everybody who is on this Hair Manti list, I am going to, for one last day, extend the early bird, even though the early bird has officially ended. I sent out an email that the early bird special has ended, but for the participants in Hair Manti, whether you're on live or listen to this recording or seeing this on YouTube, anybody who wants to join, the links will be in the description, and you can still join Be'ezras Hashem if you would like to for the early bird price, and all of that information is going to be included in the link. I want to open if anybody has questions or comments, anything that you would like. Let me just look at the chat and see what you're all saying in the chat. 1 second, let's see. I heard Rabbi Mansour saying yesterday that the shoresh of the word for money is money is man. So literally the English word for money is man, which is letting. It's like bloodletting when you give money and let some go. It's healthy and it returns. Very cute. That's nice. Thank you for sharing that. Let's see what else. Yeah, beautiful that was your grandfather. Any other things in the chat? Okay, fine. Anybody want to unmute, share something, add something? Love to hear from anybody. Okay. I want to thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this community. I feel like I'm trying to give as much as possible. Then you are giving as much as possible. Maybe you're actually overgiving. Maybe in that case, you might be overgiving. Okay. So that's why I did mention this. You may possibly be giving from a place of stress, from a place of, I'm going to say it, people pleasing, and not necessarily from a place of giving from your heart what you genuinely know you can give. And so maybe for you.
Hi.
Yeah, you want to speak up?
Yeah. So actually there's a few reasons and purposes for the giving.
Yeah.
So I think it's much, but I think I definitely used to give from that place. And I think Baruch Hashem is much healthier. It's also therapeutic, the type of giving. So
Yeah.
it definitely, it's because also there's like a stressful situation going on. I mean, who doesn't have one going on all the time? So I was also using that as like a way to take my mind off of things.
Okay.
I'm just like, my question is, besides of the giving, is there, I don't know how to plug it into anything, but I'm just wondering, let's say somebody needs like a very big Yeshua, and it's let's say financial. So you're giving tzedakah, you're giving of yourself, and you need a very big Yeshua, and you just feel like you have to be patient. Obviously, you have to be patient, but I just feel like maybe the pipelines are clogged or something, because it's just really not. I mean, it's in Hashem's time. I remember all the things you taught us.
Yes.
But I'm feeling so overwhelmed.
So I'll tell you what I'm feeling is, okay, part of patience Part of Imuna is patience, and part of patience is the joy in the giving. Maybe only because I know you, all right, and I care, and I know how much joy you can potentially have in the giving. Maybe if you focus on the joy in giving and really doing it in a way that brings you joy, not in a way that is I don't focus on, well, I have to give because I need to be a giver and then just to give me, but focus on just letting yourself rip
It
and
was. No, I did actually. No, I did.
yeah, okay.
I sent you a bunch of photos and you'll see.
Okay, I'm looking forward to
No,
seeing that.
I
Yeah.
had fun with it. I have to say, I had fun with
Okay,
it.
great.
Even one day I just had like a burst of energy also.
Yeah,
And because somebody asked me to donate something and
yeah.
I already donated something else. And I told her no. Then I woke
Okay.
up the next day with like this crazy burst of energy. Crazy. And the day before I wasn't feeling well. And I couldn't
Right.
believe it. And I said, you know what? This energy is going in to make something for somebody because it just felt so right.
That's
And
right. You
I
got
got the
it.
most
You're thinking big.
beautiful, yeah, I got the
Yes.
most beautiful message after. I
Beautiful.
can't believe it. And I got
Yeah.
other messages about the other, about the other one also. So
Beautiful.
I know it's like I don't have any regrets whatsoever.
Yeah.
The only issue I have is that it's like you have to do it to be, to love it. But at the same time, I'm like, I just like, I wish Hashem could like hear my tefillos. I'm like davening so hard. I need such a big
Right.
issue.